And get access to this and we'll get rolling. All right. So let me get the slide deck up and going because this is going to be part command demo, part slideshow, and we'll get everything set up. So today we're going to talk about basically two things. One is the Facebook dynamic ads that just got launched, and then the other is going to be the ability to run Google Ads in command. Really exciting stuff, an opportunity for us to be able to do some extra lead generation and drive more business back to us. And Keller Williams has really created the easy button with this, in the sense that as we go through this, might seem a little complex at first, but it's actually super simple. It takes all the thinking out of actually running the ads. And we'll talk about best practices today a little bit too. So if we have not had the pleasure of meeting yet, I wanted to give you a little bit about myself. I am the Regional Technology Director for the LA Coastal and West LA regions. So I'm here to help support the region with technology, and we do trainings twice a month, which we'll go over what's going to be on the next schedule at the end of the class, and to also support the market centers around technology. In addition to that, I'm also a KW faculty, so I am an instructor for Keller Williams University, and I'm a MAPS coach as well too. So I coach agents from across the country, which gives me a unique opportunity to explore what the practices that a lot of top agents are using, not just locally, but all across the country. So enough about me. Let's jump into the topic. A few things we're going to talk a little bit about. We already went over the introduction stuff. Basically, what we're going to learn today is, again, the Google search traffic ad that you can run inside a command. Now, I know a lot of people have been really wanting to run Google ads. Typically, they're lower down the funnel, so it gives us the ability to get people who are a little bit more ready to potentially either buy a property or sell a property. And we'll talk a little bit about why that is versus, say, for example, Facebook ads. Google ads tend to be a little bit more expensive because those are a little bit further down the funnel. But again, if we're looking at return on investment, there's a lot of agents out there that would like to get higher quality leads and maybe pay a little bit more versus just getting a lot of leads and then having to sift through some of those. So there's pluses and minuses for both of those things, and we'll talk about that. And then we'll talk about some steps to get you into action, because let's just face it, you come to a class, you learn something, you don't put it into action, and then basically what was the point of coming to the class, because we're not actually utilizing the things that we learn. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well too. Love interaction. So if you have questions, make sure you ask questions. If you're shy, you can ask them in the chat box. If you want to raise your digital hand, I'll make sure to call on you to address you that as well with that. And then, if you aren't talking at this point, make sure that you put yourself on mute. That way we're not hearing background noise.
You're the best. Appreciate it.
Things like that. So I'm going to actually... you can go put yourself on mute. That would be great. And then like I said, we'll get rolling with this. We'll talk about next steps and then questions, ahas. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about the Google ad experience first. That's going to be a quick one to go through. It's super easy and simple to set up. I have a QR code on the screen. If you use that QR code, it's going to take you to a answers.kw.com article that's going to walk you through this. So, for example, we go through it today. You say, man, I don't really know how to get this set up. I forgot what John said. This will actually give you the ability to go in and be able to kind of get a step-by-step tutorial on all the things that we're going to talk about today. Okay. And then in addition to that, any resource that you want to utilize inside a command is going to have the ability to give you some answers there. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the Google Ads experience. A couple things that we're going to talk about is access, how you get to the page to actually do it. We're going to talk about setting up the ads and going over ad details. A little bit more nuanced. If you guys have been running Facebook ads, the lead capture is really easy because Facebook creates a lead capture form When the lead comes to you, it gets dropped into command. That's not the way Google Ads work. So we're going to talk a little bit about how you can go about getting the information because they operate, or the ads are just a little bit different. Then the last part of that will be, going over how to finalize and publish those ads so that they go out there and get out into Google world. Okay. All right. So I'm going to change screens here, and we're going to walk through all these things inside of Command. All right. So we get to the login screen of Command. We log into our accounts. And then where we're going to go once Command gets loaded. And again, it's always tough when you're doing Zoom calls because processing times with the bandwidth of the call and with Command takes a little bit longer than normal. So we're going to basically go down to the Campaigns applet. We're going to click Campaigns. And then that's going to take us to the dashboard so that we can get started with this, right? Now, really quick, I'm going to just put something on here to highlight my mouse so it'll make it easier for you guys to see. So you guys should see a little green dot now instead of where I was at. So right in the top right-hand corner, you're going to see where it says Paid Ad Quick Start. We can go there. We can also click on the dashboard, the paid ads. That'll take us into the ad experience. A couple really cool things that are in here is you have different videos and tutorials. When it comes to internet lead gen, somebody who is really just a total master of internet lead gen is Tyler Shields. So if you want to get some really good ideas and best practices, anything that Tyler has posted, I would definitely check out because a majority, he runs a huge business, and a majority of where his business comes from is actually internet leads, not necessarily even working in SOI or anything like that. So Tyler's a really good source to take a look at. Now, one thing you're going to probably want to do out of the get-go, you can do this as you're setting up the ad, but maybe today or tomorrow you're not ready to launch the ad. To help you prepare, if you go into account settings first, which is where it says helpful links, it's like the first link below there. This ad experience is different than the old one, so you're going to have to input your credit card. So if you were running Facebook ads in Command previously, you need to do it again in this new experience, because you can see as we get into the applet, it's a little bit different. So if I go to billing details, I can enter a new credit card information in there. And then that way, when we're running the ad, we don't have to do it at that point. Okay. So I'm going to go back out into campaigns, and then we'll talk about how to navigate or to find the Google ad experience there. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this quick start button where it says quick start. And then that's going to take us into the dashboard of the different options we have to run ads. You can see a lot of different things here. We're focusing right now on the Google stuff. So you can see attract sellers, attract buyers. So there are two different kinds of ads that we're running here. So if you're looking for buyers, I'm going to run one that's geared towards buyers. If I'm going to want to attract listings, I'm going to, use the one that's geared more towards the listings. For the demo here, I'm not going to do both because they're really the same setup, but we will talk a little bit about the differences between the two. So for this one, I'm going to just click attract buyers because there's going to be a little bit more nuance on how we might potentially capture the leads with both of these. So if I click attract buyers, that's what I want to run. What I'm going to now do is I need to put my targeting in first. So it's zip code or city is required. You can choose up to 5 different locations. So I know LA is a big place. If there is some different cities that you want to utilize or some different zip codes that you want to utilize, you can do that as well. So if I just say, for example, I want to do Torrance, California, I could put Torrance in there as one. Maybe I want to expand this to a surrounding area. Maybe I put something like Venice Beach. And you can, again, add up to 5. I'm just going to put 2 in there for right now. Now, it doesn't put a radius around stuff like the old experience. This is just strictly looking at targeting zip codes and or entire cities as far as that goes. If you want to hit all the zip codes in a city, I'd utilize it, just the city itself, save you some time. If you guys want to utilize specific zip codes because maybe you're looking for beachfront buyers or beachfront sellers or something like that, then I might just use the zip codes that are right around the beach, right? Question just popped into the chat. Yeah, you could just use one zip code, maximum of up to 5. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we do destination URL. When the lead comes in, where do we want them to go, right? And so for a buyer, I think it's pretty easy. What I'm going to do, and I'm going to open up another command tab just to show you, because you're going to need to set this up. So if I go into another command window here, first thing I want to do as far as for capturing is I want to make sure that my website is set up to be able to capture leads. Because if they just end up on my website and I'm not asking them to sign up for anything, then I might not get the information, because the way Google ads run, again, a little bit different than the Facebook ad experience that we had before. Facebook ad experience, lead gen form pops up, they fill their information out, then they go to the destination. Google, people are searching for specific keywords and specific terms, and those keywords and terms that they're searching for will allow your sponsored ad to pop up. Then they're going to click a link direct. And so there's not going to be a lead capture form per se that's going to pop up unless you direct them specifically to a lead capture form someplace, right? So I want to make sure that I'm going into my website settings, and then on the forced registration, right now, you see mine says unrestricted. That means people could look at as many houses as they want to, and then they are never going to necessarily be asked to leave their information. So you can set it as either unrestricted, 10 properties, 2 properties, or set it up so they can't even look at a property at all until they register. So I'm going to put 2 properties on there, hit save changes. And then now it becomes fairly easy in the sense that, you know, when I get that destination URL, I'm just going to send them to my website. So I'm going to put john.kw.com. Now what'll end up happening is when they find my link on Google, right, they click on it, then they get taken to my website, and that allows them to start searching for properties. After they search 2 properties or look at 2 properties, it's going to ask them to sign up or register for an account. When they register for an account, then that information will get dropped into my command as a new lead, and I'll show you guys where to find those. And so basically for a buyer, I'm either going to take them to my homepage to let them look for stuff, or the new sites that are coming out will allow me to direct them to our blog experience. And right now, what's preloaded for you guys is blogs on, you know, buying a house, right? So if it was a buyer lead, I might direct them to this spot first. So if I wanted to change that, I could then go back into my marketing and say, hey, I want them to go to my blog page so they can get information about buying a house. If there's a specific blog, like if you want to write your own, or if there's a specific one you want them to hit, all you would need to do is click on the one you want them to go to, and then use that URL on where you want to send the buyer to. Okay. Question popped in, says, when are we getting the new websites we have been promised all year? That stuff's getting launched pretty soon. They're going to be doing a rollout. You'll basically have to go to a class, go to the class, and then they'll get that activated for you. So I'll shoot a little bit more info on that out to the team leaders, so that when you're looking at wanting to convert to the new sites, then you can convert to the new sites, right? So under the campaigns, again, we enter a URL. If there's a landing page that we've currently created and we want to send them to a landing page, we can click the landing pages. And then this allows us to go in and find the landing page on our website that we want to utilize there. Now, one thing is that the new websites, when you convert, right now, there isn't going to be a landing page option inside of there, or to create specific landing pages, because they're going to replace some of the 90% of all landing pages created were used as open house registers. So there's going to be a new experience coming out fairly soon on capturing leads from open houses utilizing your website rather than having to create a complete new landing page for it. So if you're a huge landing page fan until that gets launched, then I would maybe hold off on converting the website and use the old experience, because that'll allow you to continue to utilize some of those things instead. So I'm going to just send them to my URL rather than a landing page. And then that's all I really need to do. So I'm going to go back to the slide deck real quick to explain this. But Google has utilized AI. We have found the most commonly searched terms for people looking to buy a house. We've commonly searched terms for people looking to sell a house. We've embedded that into the form already, so you don't need to do that work. What the ad details now do, though, is it gives you the ability, if there's something else that you want to add in there as a search term that people might be utilizing to search, you can add your own search terms as well, too. And then in addition to that, if there's terms you don't want people, if they search for years, to pop up, you can add negative keywords, so that if it's something that doesn't apply, then that way you won't necessarily be paying for somebody clicking your link when the search terms come up, right? So I'm just going to review really quickly what those ones that are already embedded for you are in here. And then I also have, again, a QR code so that you can get this page for yourself. So this is a list of all the terms that are already created and embedded into the ad experience. So you don't need to go and add these things in because they're already in there, right? If you wanted to maybe add somewhere around the location, things like that, that would be why you might add some additional things. So this is a list of all the ones that are already in there for working or trying to get seller leads. These are the ones that are already in there for people trying to get buyer leads. So again, don't go and re-enter those terms into those keywords because they're already there, right? That additional part is just for ones that you want to potentially add that aren't already part of the default list, right? Personally, I don't like to add a whole lot of extra stuff because, we're using AI to help us generate these lists. And let's just face it, a supercomputer's smarter than we are. And so Google knows what Google users are looking for. Facebook knows what Facebook users are looking for. And every time that we actually kind of go in there and manipulate that criteria, then it kind of it alters or it affects the AI's ability to kind of do its job. So I don't typically mess with it too much, but if there's something specific that you want, then you could put those into the, add those things into that part as well. So let's go back into Command. Before I do, any questions so far? Are you guys following along okay? Yeah, pretty simple. If you have questions, again, put it in the chat box, raise your hand. So once I'm good with all of this, then I just proceed to the last step. I put the date I want this to launch on, so I could put it in today. And just keep in mind that it can take up for 24 hours for the ad to actually launch. Could be sooner than that, but I wouldn't go in here last minute to be putting something in because it could take a little while for it to get launched, right? And then we have to set a monthly budget. Now, here's what's a little bit different than that. Than what we've previously experienced. And just the Google and just the Facebook ads, which you could still run those accounts. You kind of pay as you go, right? The Google ad experience is a little bit different, and even the Facebook dynamic ads that we have is a little bit different as well too. So basically, they want you to set a monthly budget, and then you can allocate, or you could, run that ad a whole month. You can run multiple ads as far as that goes, but they want you to basically commit to doing a budget of a minimum of $250 a month, a maximum of $2,500 a month, at least that's set in here. You only have to run it for a month as long as you cancel before 7 days prior to the start date of every month. So if I don't want to renew for if I start in September and I don't want to renew for October, then I would just need to go in there and make sure that I cancel that out prior to 7 days before October hits. Okay. Yeah, so a question popped in there is so it says, so stay with the old program for less than 250. Yeah, if you want to spend less than 250, then just stick with the old program. This is just if you want to be able to utilize Google, search ads for that, or running the Facebook dynamic ads. Other ones hasn't changed at all, right? Says, is there any way to see what KW used as the target words? I just popped that list on the screen. I will be sending those QR codes out after the class is over. So if you missed it, then you can go back and you can get that as well too. Now, since I didn't enter my credit card information in here, if I didn't do it ahead of time, then it's going to ask me to enter my information in here. If you did it ahead of time, all that will be already entered. You won't need to do that, right? And then basically it's showing what my fee is going to be. I'm going to click purchase now, and then that basically will launch the ad and we're good to go. So pretty simple. Doesn't really take a whole lot to get that launched out. Here's what I will say, whether you're running the old Facebook ad program, you'd opt to go into Google ad search, or you go into the Facebook dynamic ads. Internet lead generation is a long game. It's not a short game. If I'm looking to just try to get a bunch of leads really quickly, and then I think I'm going to get business from that, probably not going to work out. I'm not saying that it can't, right? Because sometimes magic happens. But basically, here's statistically what we know. The average home buyer is basically starts their search somewhere between 6 to 18 months before they're actually ready to pull the trigger. So we get a lot of voyeuristic viewers on our stuff. And so even though they might leave their information, I might call that person, text that person, try to stalk that person to get them on the phone, and maybe they're ignoring everything that I'm doing. Doesn't mean that they're not a good buyer or not a good seller. It just means that maybe I caught them too early in that process. So I got to make sure that when I'm setting these things up, I have good drip campaigns in place. So I'm going to be utilizing smart plans. I'm going to make sure that I have long-term drip campaigns put into place so that it's going to cover that time period. Excuse me. Meaning that, hey man, the lead I get today, I'm anticipating I'm not going to close it until 6 to 18 months from now. So what am I doing to stay in contact or stay in touch with those people? And we'll talk a little bit about some smart plans that you guys can set people up on, right? And so we want to make sure that we're constantly doing good follow-up, because what ends up happening if you talk to anybody that does a really good job with internet lead gen, they basically, I come up with a budget, I stick to that budget. No matter whether I close the deal or not, I'm going to at least give it 6 months to try to convert or to try to turn anything. So if I was going to do this and I was going to start small, I would basically say to myself, do I have $1,500 to commit to this? Because I'm going to be running this for 6 months straight, and then I should start to see some results popping in from the work that I did. If not, or if maybe that budget's too high, then maybe I utilize the old Facebook ads experience. But at the end of the day, man, if I have to spend $1,500 to do this for 6 months, I close one deal and it pays for itself, 10 times over. So that's what I would basically ask myself before I really launch this. Now, where you're going to basically find the leads, if you have them come from your website. So again, if I'm on my website and they look at a couple of houses, they sign up on here, the leads are going to come in just like any other lead that comes in for your sites currently. You'll get a lead notification inside of commands. So if I go into my contacts, and I'll show you a quick hack too, is actually if I go to home, one, I'm going to get an alert on my phone that a new lead popped in if I have the command app on my phone. Second thing is recent leads on my home screen will show basically any of the most recent leads that have popped in. Another quick hack that you can do, which I advise, is I'm going to create a smart view. And basically what I'll do with that is I'll go into filters, and then I'm going to put leads only as my contact type. And then I want to do created. And then I'm going to say within the last 1 day, right? Then I'm going to hit apply. And then I'm going to create a smart view around that. And when I hit create smart view, I'm going to just put hot leads and then 24, something like that. You guys can put whatever you want. Basically what this will tell me is this is going to be the hot leads that have just come in within the last 24 hours. And I'm going to hit save that as a smart view. So now when I come into the office, right, I can go into my contacts. And when I go into my contacts, I can find that smart view that I just created. Hot leads 24. Just click that. That'll give you a list of every lead that's been created inside a command within the last day. Right. So that's really easy how to find those people. And then you can make the phone calls, get them put onto appropriate smart plans, all of that stuff. Right. Any questions so far? Cool. So now how listings is a little bit different because like I said, same process to build the ad. Problem is until command gets lead capture form availability to put onto the site itself, until we put, an automated CMA type of thing, where we send sellers to is a little iffy if we want to send them to the site. So I'm going to go back to my site for a second just to show you. And then I'm going to talk about some workarounds that you guys could do. Right? Because if I send them to the home screen, great, there's properties there, but how does that help me as a seller? Now, what I would probably do if I want to send them to the site is on the blog, which I'll put together a training on the next session on how to operate or navigate the new sites. So that's what we'll do at the beginning of next month. That way you guys can start building this out. But I would create a custom blog that is generated around basically what a seller does. So these have already been created for home buyers. Keller Williams is going to be releasing fresh content every single month. You also have the ability to create your own. I would create a guide for sellers and then direct them to that. And then inside of the blog itself, there could be a link that you direct them towards some sort of lead capture tool. A couple popular ones that you might want to utilize. If you're currently utilizing a system that basically does automated CMAs for you or CMA requests for you, I would redirect them to that, right? And you could actually put that right into the ad rather than them coming to your website. You could just redirect the seller leads to go directly to whatever CMA tool you might be utilizing already. And then they can just request their CMA there, and then you'll get the leads through that. Problem with that is they're not going to necessarily come directly into command from there. You'll have to make sure that you're checking whatever tool that you're using for all the leads from that way. If you don't utilize the CMA tool, there's a couple popular options that are out there. I know a good friend of mine uses Fellow. It's Fello. I think it's like $120, $130 a month. And then there's lots of tools with CMAs, things like that you can utilize to generate leads. I know with our CAR subscription, there's the ability to utilize some home valuation tools in there as well too. If you don't like any of those, or you want to do something that's on the cheap, really easy thing to do would be create a Google form, basically requesting what information you want from the seller in order for you to be able to run a CMA for them manually. And then in the next class, I can show you how to link a Google form to your command account with the use of a tool called Zapier that doesn't cost anything, which will then actually drop the leads directly into your command so that you can follow up there. So just be aware that if you're going for seller leads through Google, we're going to have to nuance it a little bit or do some workarounds for you to actually do some lead capture. Because like I said, a seller just coming to my website's landing page probably not going to doesn't scream, hey, click here to get the info that you want. So we're going to have to navigate that. So we'll cover that on the next class that I do on the 12th. Any questions on that so far? In a nutshell, that's the Google Ads experience. Super easy. All right, so if there's no questions on that, we'll hop into the Facebook ads experience. Again, this is going to be really, really simple as well too. Now, the caveat to this is at initial launch, the Facebook ad experience is just set up for agent teams. It's not set up for solo agents. So if I'm a solo agent, I can't really utilize this tool. However, there is a little bit of a workaround if you want to do it. I am a solo agent, and I basically, your MCA theoretically, and you want to check with your MCA first, because I don't know what each market center's policies are towards anything. But in Command, you have the ability to get yourself set up as a solo agent team. So that way you can get some of the team functionality without you having to actually be on a team, right? So that would be one way that you could go about doing that until they release this for solo agents, if that's something you would like to do and that's something that your market center allows. Okay. Again, here is a support article with this QR code to get the information step-by-step walkthrough of everything that we're going to cover here. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at what this looks like. We're going to talk again a little bit about access, a little bit about ad details, and then how to finalize and publish your Facebook dynamic ad, this is going to be a little different than what the normal Facebook ads that you're currently have been doing do. Okay. So we're going to go back into campaigns. I'm going to start from the dashboard. That way you can kind of see how to get there as well too. So we're in campaigns. Again, I'm going to basically just hit the quick start link here. When I hit the click start link, one thing is, actually, I should probably go back to make sure that I am in my team account. So if this is not working for you, it might be, and you are on a team, it might be just that you need to be in your team account. So make sure that you're in your team account. Two other things too. If I do have a team account, I need to have at least unlimited or enhanced permissions to be able to run this. So you have limited and you have enhanced and you have unlimited. And so depending on, say I'm a buyer's agent or a showing assistant on a team, and I have just the kind of limited the permissions, I'm not going to be able to run this ad. So if you are somebody that's running ads for a team, make sure that you get enhanced permissions. That way you have the ability to go in and to be able to run the ads. Otherwise, you won't be able to do it. Okay. So I am in my team account. Again, I'm going to hit quick start. Once I hit quick start, it's going to take me back to that builder page. And so I can see here, let's see. Actually, the dynamic ads button didn't show up, so maybe I wasn't in the team account. Let me go back one more time just to make sure that I get that taken care of. I am in my team account here. And okay, cool. So I'm going to hit this dynamic real estate ads button. So now when I get to the dynamic ads, and you can see in the ad builder, it's in this drop down as well too. I'm just going to hit create program. And then that's going to show the dynamic ads blueprint. I'm going to click this. And then I need to make sure that I link my Facebook page. If you're not already linked up, there's going to be a process for walking you through that. If I want I can show you that real quick. If I hit link new page, it's going to say continue with Facebook. It's going to take me to my Facebook account. And then it's going to ask me which page do I want to select for this, right? So then once I got my page connected, then I'm good there. I can go back into the programs, hit create program. So I got my Facebook page linked, and then basically they already have a body text written out for you. You can modify that to whatever sales kind of pitch you want to do. You can change that. You could use the one that's already there. What's listed here is check out these listings and let us help you find your next dream home. Again, I would watch that video with Tyler Shields. Tyler's a ninja at this kind of stuff. So that'll give you guys some inspiration on some good titles that are going to draw, leads in, right? Make sure though, one of the things that Facebook tells us is the primary objective in running an ad on Facebook is not to get the lead. It's actually to get people to stop scrolling so that you have an opportunity to get the lead. So Facebook suggests that we utilize some emojis and things like that. So maybe where it says check out these listings, I put a little emoji in there of a smiley face, and then something that says, and let us help you find your next dream home. Maybe I put a thumbs up or something like that in there. Now, the reason Facebook says to do that is images basically cause a pattern disrupt as people are scrolling through mounds of text. And so just seeing those images get people to stop long enough to read the headline. And if they read the headline, then you got a chance to get the lead. If they just scroll past you, you got no chance, right? So always use a couple little emojis inside of that. Whatever you use as your tagline to pull people in, make sure that you utilize the emojis, right? Question popped up, says, so you can only run Facebook ads if you're on a team. Not true. You can run Facebook ads utilizing how we've been doing it for the last 3 or 4 years. If you're a solo agent, this new dynamic ads experience though, is currently only set up for teams. So just what I'm showing you right now with the dynamic ads, that's team-based, at least at this point. Still can run the Facebook ads that we've been running for 4 years by doing that. And I'll show you how to get to that part in this new experience as well too after we go through this. Okay. So we got the text already set up. If you wanted to add your logo in as a little emoji down here, you can click where it says plus logo, and then that could add the emoji in there as well. Targeting, we can do a custom location. So we can do a postal code or a region, and then we can do a radius around how big we want that to go. So we can go up to 50 miles and as low as 15 miles there, right? If we want to target an entire state, then we can target the entire state. And then if we want to basically say, hey, Facebook, I just want you to get me leads that might pertain to people looking for stuff in California, then we can click to, hey, if we click anywhere in the US, they'll basically launch this ad out nationally. So like, let's just say I have an amazing luxury listing that's got on the beach and water views. Hey, I might want to run it nationally. Or if I want to go into custom location, I can choose up to 10 locations too. And so that might be one way I want to do it instead, because maybe I don't want this ad going to people in North Dakota. Nothing against people in North Dakota, but maybe, hey, I want this to be run in San Francisco. I want this to be run in New York. I want this to be run in LA. I want this to be run in Miami, right? Because maybe I feel like that's going to be the target for my area. You can choose again up to 10 different locations where you want this ad to be going out to, and then you could put a radius around that location, right? Question popped up. It says, what's the difference between the dynamic and the other Facebook ads? The other Facebook ads, we basically control the property and the information that the ad's going to run. And so like, let's just say, hey, I want to advertise this listing, this specific listing. And so I have more control over what I'm going to advertise. The dynamic ads are more of an easy button. So maybe, especially if I'm a newer, maybe I don't have a lot of business, or if I'm just trying to get a bunch of leads as far as that goes, this allows us to tap into our market center's entire listing kind of roster. And then it's going to basically advertise all the listings from the market center. So it's going to be more apt to catch a broader audience's appeal than maybe a specific listing. Because maybe I'm advertising a beachfront place that's $15 million. Well, hey, that might not appeal or pertain to a certain segment of people. Where if I run a dynamic ad, it's going to be randomly, or not randomly, the AI is going to be looking at what listings are getting the most eyeballs on it, and then it's going to put that into a carousel so that when people see the ad, there's going to be more options for them to potentially click and get you a lead, right? Another question just popped in. It says, you have to connect a Facebook page. Can you just run an ad without starting the business page first? No, that has nothing to do with command either. Facebook, if you were to go into Facebook Direct and want to run an ad, Facebook does not let you run an ad it does not let you run an ad to a personal account. You have to have a business page to run an ad. So you definitely need to make sure that you were launching out a Facebook business page as well too. And so make sure that you do that. That said, if you're going to run a Facebook business page, you gotta basically nurture that page. Meaning, what's going to happen if I walk into a store, a physical storefront location, and there's almost nothing in the location, and the stuff that's in there is 3 years old? What is a consumer going to do? They're going to turn around and walk out, right? Same thing here. You know, if I'm running a Facebook business page, which you all should be, more people go to Facebook than any other website by spades, right? And so for me, it's almost even more important to have a good Facebook business page than a website, because if one user goes to my website, sees something they like, cool, that one user had a good experience. If I have a really great Facebook business page and one user goes to that business page and likes it or shares it, then the reach that can have is infinite. So I really want to make sure that my social game is really good. So I'm going to be going into my business page and I'm going to be posting content to my Facebook business. I'm not going to overdo it, but I'm going to be posting pages, information to that business page pretty constantly, or at least once a day. That way, when people come visit my page, especially if they've seen my ad and they want to check us out, right? They see things that are timely because I just posted today, and they see a lot of content. So they know that I'm active, which that's going to get people to come back to my page, right? Recording, I'm going to send that out to Jen Kachera, and she'll make sure that she gets that out to everybody that was on the call. Typically what we'll do is we'll upload it into the region's YouTube channel, and then you'll be able to get that. Okay. All right. So we're going to do our location. So I'm going to just say, again, we'll say Torrance, because that's the example that we were using. And so it's going to go to all of Torrance, California, or 15-mile radius. Maybe I want to expand it to 20 miles. I can expand it to 20 miles. Right. If I wanted to add another location, again, let's just say that we wanted to do, I don't know, Newport Beach. Then we can add Newport Beach. So this is going to run a 20-mile radius around Torrance, and it will run a 20-mile radius around all the users in Facebook that are within 20 miles of Newport Beach too. And again, you can add up to 10 either towns or zip codes. Now, post lead submission destination. This is different than the Google ad, right? So the Google ad, we needed to capture the lead. So we're either utilizing our website to get to capture the lead for buyers, or we're creating a landing page or a squeeze page, or we're using a third-party tool to capture that lead for the sellers. Facebook leads are still the same as we've had before. Facebook has its own lead capture page. So if they click on the ad, so I see your ad, I click on it, and now I'm going to go in and Facebook will pop up a lead gen form. I'm going to leave my information in command or on that lead gen form, and then I'm going to click submit. Now, basically, the lead info will get dropped into command just like it always has, right? So that's not going to be a different experience for you at all. And this is really the same thing too, is once they click submit on the lead generation form, where do I want them to go? And for me, that's pretty easy, because most of the people who are going to click on this are going to be buyer leads anyway. So I'm going to have them just go to my website. I don't really, because they filled out a lead gen form on Facebook, I really don't care where they go, to tell you the truth. And the reason I don't care where they go is because the lead gen form is going to capture their information for me. And so now at this point, I got your info already. So I'm good, right? So for this, I'll just either send them to a blog page, or I'll send them to my website. If there's somewhere else you want to send them, that's fine, right? Because again, at this point, you still have the lead already. Okay. Now, here's a couple things that you're going to want to make sure that you set up, and I would suggest that you do this. Again, with Teams, if I want, and I'm not going to go over lead routes today. If this is something you want to learn how to set up because you're running a team and you want to be able to route leads to different people, hit me up. I'll give you guys my contact information at the end, and I'll get you some resources, or we can do a one-on-one on how to set up your lead routes for your team. But if I want to create a lead, if I have a lead route set up, I have one that's set up for Facebook leads. Then now when the lead comes in, it goes into the lead route and then it gets funneled out to the people that are on my team based on the criteria I set up for the lead route. If you don't want this to go into the lead routing system, you want it just dropped into whoever's running the ads command account, then you can click the X out there and then not set it up to a lead route. Okay. Tags. I definitely want to utilize tags for this. So if if I want to do a tag, I'm going to just type in Facebook. If I haven't already created that tag, it's going to say no options. Then I'm hit create as a new tag. And then now basically I'm going to have to go back in and create it outside of this. But basically what I want to do is I want to create this as a Facebook tag. I'm just going to do demo for right now. I'll show you how to create a tag here in a second in the thing. So I want to basically do tags, and then we have the ability to set them up onto a smart plan, which we want to make sure that we do that too. I always teach people when you're running an internet lead generation, you want to make sure that you have the smart plan in place prior to running the ad, because I don't want to get 100 leads and then basically, okay, great, what do I do with these all? Because now I'm overwhelmed. I want to have the smart plan or the follow-up setup in place prior to me even running the ad. That way, when the ad launches, lead comes in, I got automated follow-up happening. So now I can go in and I have my easy button Facebook lead follow-up that I like to use. So I want to select that smart plan. If I want to add them to more smart plans, I can add them to more smart plans as well. But now what will end up happening is when the lead comes in, it will automatically get tagged the way I want it to get tagged. And then they'll automatically get launched onto the smart plan. So that even if it takes me a little while to actually try to reach out to the person, I can have the system basically start the follow-up for me already. So a text message can go out automatically as soon as they enter their information in, because you have the ability to utilize the trigger here, because once they hit submit, they get redirected to the website. Now their information gets dropped directly into command. And then when it gets dropped into command, it gets tagged the way I want to tag them. And then it'll also, start them or launch them onto a smart plan automatically. So the follow-up just starts happening, right? Question came in and says, is that my easy button smart plan in the library? Yeah, if you go search for that, it is in the library. Basically, it's a series of 4 different smart plans by my friend Brian Leverett. And basically what Brian did is he created the easy button one. You got to download all 4. But what he did with the easy button one is the easy button, that smart plan, all it does is it adds them to 3 other smart plans. So when the lead comes in, Brian doesn't have to add them to 3 smart plans manually. He just adds them to the one, and then it launches all 3, which makes it super easy. That's why it's called easy button, right? So that's a really good one to utilize. Tyler Shields created one, which I'll show you how to find Tyler's. Again, Tyler's probably one of the best in KW at generating and converting internet leads. So I listen to anything that he says. And I'm going to give you another resource from Tyler as well, too, that will get sent out when the video gets launched, too. So once I'm good with the lead settings, I go to proceed to the last step. I, again, choose the start date. Now, the regular Facebook ads that we run, we determine the budget and we're good for that, right? Same thing as the Google ads. This dynamic ad experience basically wants you to be consistent with running ads so that you maximize the return. So they're going to want to set you up onto a monthly budget, same as the Google ads. And so I determine what my budget is that I want to spend monthly. Same kind of thing. I'm going to say, if you're going to start this, commit to a 6-month budget. If this is too expensive for you, don't do it just yet. Utilize the old Facebook ad experience. Then you can scale that budget down. I don't care what budget you start at. Just make sure that you have enough to commit to 6 months. And when I say commit to 6 months, commit to 6 months of doing it consistently without even if you don't get, any business from it, it takes about 6 to 18 months for this stuff to really start working and paying off. That's why I said it's a long game. But then as you get into month, 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever you did from 6 months ago, now those things are going to start converting, and you should start seeing transactions or conversions starting to happen consistently from your efforts once you get into about 6 months, right? So whether you utilize Google Ads, the dynamic ad experience, or the Facebook ad experience that we've had forever, just pick a budget and make sure that you stick with that budget for at least 6 months before you decide to tweak it or just shut it off, right? Just remember this too, as far as lead count goes, typically what we're averaging, Google Ads is going to be a little bit different because again, they're more top of funnel. I don't have any early numbers for that yet. Facebook ads, typically what we're seeing is anywhere from about $1.50 to $3 a lead, depends on the area. And so just think about it like this. Typically internet lead gen, we're going to have a 1 to a 2% conversion rate, maybe 3% if you're really good at your follow-up. So what that tells me is I need about 100 leads to close one deal. And so now I know that if I want 100 leads, I'm going to probably have to spend $250 or $300 to get 100 leads, which should generate at least somewhere between 1 to 3 closed deals from that. Now, you might sit there and say, God, 1% conversion rate sucks. But the thing is internet lead generation is used to supplement the real world stuff that we do. So if I'm pounding phones all day, there's only so much time I have to do that. If I'm a door knocker, there's only so much time I have to do that. If I'm a networker, there's only so many meetings that I can go on. Internet lead generation is meant to supplement that because it works 24 hours a day where I can't do that. And so the 1% actually is pretty good because now or 2% is actually pretty good because now I'm using something that's highly leveraged that's not going to take up my time. And then it's going to allow me to get more closings when physically maybe I just can't do more. Or if I'm running a team and I need more leads for my people to work, this is going to get me relatively cheap leads. So if you look at it this way, if I spend $250 a month and it gets me one closing, yeah, I'm going to do that all day long. And I'm going to keep scaling that up until, I find that threshold of where more leads doesn't equal more business. Because especially in the price points in LA, I mean, $250, if I get one transaction, I'm going to make $25,000 in a lot of areas or more. So again, if you already entered your billing information, that's not going to ask you to do this. Since I haven't yet, then it's asking me to enter my billing information. And then I just hit purchase now, and then that launches the ad. And you can see that basically what the image looks like here. It's going to be a scrolling ad, like I said. So it's going to basically show information on a little bit about the house. And then I can scroll through and look at 3 different houses in one rather than just maybe one. And in addition to that, if I don't have listings, this is pulling from my Market Centers listings. So this gives me the ability to run some ads there. Any questions on that? All right, you guys are easy as far as that goes. So let's talk a little bit about the normal ad experience, because that was asked about. So and then I'm going to show you how to find Tyler's smart plan, because he built a smart plan that's already in the library for you as well too. So again, if I go back into campaigns, I'm going to hit leave. If I'm not on a team, or I am a team and just wants to utilize the old ad experience because I don't want to commit to $250 a month, pretty simple, right? I'm going to just go into paid ads. I'm going to hit create campaign. I'm going to say paid ad. Again, that's going to take me into the new ad experience. And then you can see I got a list here of all the different types of ads that I can run. The ones we talked about today are the 2 ones with the Google symbol. I don't want to do that. The dynamic ads, hey, I'm not ready for $250 a month, so I don't want to do that one either, right? So I can use any of these other ones. I can do a listing with multi-image carousel, multi-listing if I want to do more listings. If I want to do something that's not around a listing, I can do that. If I want to attract sellers, attract buyers, recruit agents. Maybe if I'm in market center leadership and I want to run a recruiting ad, I can do that. Or maybe I'm not market center leadership, but I'm running a team and I want to recruit agents to my team. I can run ads that are geared more towards that. And then you got listing, attract sellers, attract buyers. So I could pick any of these to run an ad and utilize the old experience. And then I determine the budget, I determine the listing, I determine the content a little bit more, and I can get it a little bit more cheaply. So that's basically how you're going to go and do that. Question says, I'm on my iPhone and it's on speaker, so I can barely hear because of background noise here in Starbucks. Again, recording is going to be available. We will send this out, via the regional channel, so that you have the ability to go back and watch it. Okay. All right, a couple last things, and then we'll get wrapped up because we only got a couple minutes. Did tell you I would show you where Tyler's smart plan is. So I'm going to go into smart plans. I'm going to go to the library. And then if I just type in either it says smart plan name, or I can do author name. If I want to find Tyler's, I'm just going to put author name Tyler Shields. It's Tyler Shields, Shields. And you can see all the smart plans that Tyler has built out for his Relevate team. So he's got his new lead follow-up, really, really great stuff. This 5x5 is something that he just published as well too, and launched it at that's actually his latest one, because this was going back to 2020. So this is the one that his team is using right now. It's a 5-day plan. If you want to see the steps, you can click view steps, and it's a phone call reminder, text message, email goes out, another phone call reminder, another text message, email goes out. And basically it's a phone, text, email, every single day for like 5 straight days. And then he puts them onto a longer follow-up plan if he can't connect with them, right? So that's a good one by Tyler. When I was talking to you about is Brian Leverett. It's Bryan Lev. I think it's Eritt. Yeah. It's, so again, it's Bryan Leveritt. And you can see it's these emails, texts, calls, and the easy button. Those are the 4 that you'll do in connection with each other to launch that out. All right, so let's go back into the PowerPoint real quick, and then we'll get you out of here. I know I got a minute, so we'll talk fast. Taking action. Make sure you have your smart plan ready to go so that once the leads come in, you've got follow-up in place. Otherwise, you're going to be wasting money. Set a budget and keep running ads for at least 6 months and be consistent with it. Because again, we know that the conversion period is typically between 6 to 18 months after somebody starts the process. So we catch them early, we provide them with good follow-up, and when they're ready, then we get the business. And that's really as simple as it goes, right? So we talked about that. Let's wrap it up here now. And next session is going to be on the 12th at 12 p.m. We'll talk a little bit more in depth on some of the conversion stuff that we talked about today. So I'll dive deeper into some smart plans and some options to set up some landing pages or utilize other tools to be able to convert those Google leads. And that's really about it. One quick thing before I let you guys go, and you can hop off if you have to. If you guys can put in the chat box any topics around command that you would like me to explore in the 2 classes a month that we're doing, I'll make sure that we address those so that we're taking care of you to give you the training that you guys want. So drop that in the chat. I'll be able to access that later and be able to go and we can build those out. And then other than that, if you have any ahas or questions, I'll stick around for a couple minutes. Let me ask you this, was this valuable?
Yes, thank you, John.
Cool. Got a thumbs up. Thanks, Blake, for the comment. All right, thank you guys. So again, I promised I'd leave my contact information. If you have some questions, I can point you in the right direction. It's John Morris at kw.com. So I put that in the chat, and then my phone number, I'll put that in the chat as well too. So you can hit me up that way. Text is usually pretty easy to get a hold of me. Phone call is not always the best. Email is not always the best. Text message, you can usually get a pretty quick response. If you found some, yeah, go ahead.
I did have one for the keywords. Do you have to put them in individually? And if you do, how many do you suggest?
No, I'll share the screen here again real fast because maybe you missed it. But basically, if I go back into the slide deck, these keywords, depending on if you're running a seller ad or a buyer ad, those keywords are already embedded into the ad. So that's already in there. You want to utilize the QR code that'll give you the list of these keywords so that you just know, hey, this is not something I got to mess with. So ultimately, when I'm running the Google ad, if I don't want to put any keywords in, these are already there, right? If there's something specific that I want to put in that's not on this list, then I have the ability to add those, but those are already there.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Cool. Any other questions before we hop off? Cool. If you found some value today, come back next for the next session. Like I said, we're going to explore this or dive deeper a little bit more into this. And there's not much more to go over here, but on the next one, I want to dive into a little bit more on conversion tactics. We'll break down some smart plan stuff at a little bit higher level so that we get better conversion. Because really, the hard thing is not getting the lead. The hard thing that agents struggle with is making sure we have good long-term follow-up in place. So when that person is ready to go, we get we get them, rather than, hey, I got a lead, I follow up for a week, I forget about them, call them 6 months later, and they bought with somebody else already. We don't want that to happen. So we'll talk a little bit more on conversion for the next session on the 12th. Cool. Yeah. Brian's last name was Leverett, Leveritt. One thing I'm also going to send out to you guys too is if you don't have a copy of the new MREA playbook that they released at Mega Camp, Tyler's got a playbook on how his team actually does their lead generation and conversion. So I'm going to PDF the 3-page document, and then I'll make sure that gets sent out to you guys as well too. Cool. Well, appreciate you guys' time. Recording should come out sometime. I'm not going to say later today. I'll say by tomorrow. Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, John.